One. Welcome to 30-Minute Reviews. I'm Adam. And we haven't been here in a few weeks, so we're, back now. You can introduce yourself now, it's fine. Peter is also here.
I'm sorry. The old Peter can't come to the computer right now.
God.
Why? Because he's dead.
Oh my god. That song is so awful. By the way, do you want to hear something ridiculous about that song, too? Like, as ridiculous, if not more so, than the song itself.
What?
Amazon recommended it to me in the upbeat tempo music playlist.
I will say the beginning of the song before the chorus is I think it's the biggest letdown the song has ever given me, because the beginning of the song up until the chorus is very good, like the first verse, and then the part where I got smarter, I got harder. That's a good build, and then from then on it's horrible. And she does that weird white girl rapping that it sounds so awkward. And it's just like, what are you doing? Stop. Please stop.
My problem with the song as a whole comes down to, if you're gonna do a diss track, which is what the song is, I think it should be clear who you're dissing, and it shouldn't be 10 people you're dissing all at once.
Yes, I also don't think anyone cares that that they're being dissed by Taylor Swift.
Exactly.
It reminded me so much of In Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the episode with the high school reunion, where the entire time leading up to it, and then in the beginning of the high school reunion, Dennis is going on and on about how these are all his minions, and like he was the king of high school, and then he gets there and no one remembers who he was. And everyone's like, you were just this weird guy that would follow us around screaming that we're your minions, and then you would just go like do other shit with losers. And this is how I feel Taylor Swift is, where she thinks she's this like all-important figure that everyone's out to get her.
Well, that's the thing, is like it's not like,
and just no one cares. Like
here's the other thing, is it's like, after you see Kanye do the same thing to Beck at the Grammys that he did to you, shouldn't you know not to take it personally and just know that he just wants to fuck Beyonce?
Mm-hmm. Or,
that's the message I got out of it when he said Beyonce should have won.
It'd be way cooler if Taylor Swift and Beck did a collaboration just called like "Fuck Kanye West" or something. I would have much more respect for her.
Also, the other thing is how it's like one of the lines in the early in the song. I have watched several videos on the topic to see if I could understand this any
I've listened to
clear.
The song over 10 times because I find it makes me laugh every time.
Because like there's a line in the beginning where when he's referring to Kanye, what's it called? I hate your perfect crime or something like that. That's referring to,
I don't like your perfect crime.
That's what it is. Yes.
How you laugh when you lie.
See, here's the problem.
You said
with
the
that.
gun was mine. Isn't cool. No, I don't like you. Parenthesis. Oh, and parenthesis.
See, the other problem with it is, like, it's not forceful enough to be a good diss track. Like,
it's unlike all the rest of her songs.
It's like, if it comes down to, at worst, I don't like you. Like, that's the word. I don't like you. Okay, great. Moving on. Like, what you need to be more forceful if you're gonna do something like this. You need to not make it a personal thing. It's gotta be more of, you suck, this is why, and not, well, I personally don't care for this person. Like, because it doesn't give me any incentive to get involved emotionally in it. And quite honestly, I haven't. It's just the song is god awful.
Oh yeah, it's that. Well, that's like the joke is Katy Perry. I think you sent me the video of the trash cans.
Yes.
Katy Perry's duo. I couldn't get through her. Oh, have you seen her music video
For Swish?
for Swish?
Yes, I did watch.
Do you want to know something really fucked up about that?
What?
Okay, the one girl in it, Christine Sidelko.
Uh-huh.
I used to follow her on Vine. She had really funny vines. Like, there was one where one of my favorite vines ever, it's like her at a party, and she's like, "Welcome to Jesus camp," and then she like videotapes her doing cocaine, and she's singing "Kumbaya."
Yes.
Like, that's her, but she has a YouTube channel too that I follow.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, and she's in the Swish video. And she had no idea they were going to call her Shaquille O'Neal and like do all that other stuff. Like she showed up to film, and then she like watched the video, and she was like, did not know they were gonna do that. She said she wasn't offended though, but she said like, what if I was like, and they just did this without like notifying me?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's
and that song is horrible. I couldn't even get through the music video, even though the music video is also horrible.
Yeah, I turned that one off halfway through it.
But I guess I can go into. Should I go into my talk about pop music now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So this summer has been actually an amazing summer for music. If you look at all the new releases.
You know what? I have a comment. I really didn't mind Despacito as much as I thought I was going to.
I don't. It's fine. I think I've heard it too much, but it is catchy.
I do like what's her name's new song.
The Justin Bieber Despacito story. Where did you hear about that?
I heard about it on Hollywood Babylon. I think where it's like they asked him to play it, and he's like, "I don't know the words." Like,
did you see what he did after that?
No, what happened?
Okay, this made me like Justin Bieber 100 times more. So that all happened, and they were like yelling at him to sing it. And then he like that's what he's like. This is one is not my song. 2, I don't speak Spanish. Like 3, I don't know the words.
That's true. He's just featured on the song. It's
so they kept screaming at him to sing it. So then he was like, "Fine, I'll sing it." And he was just going burrito, burrito, burrito.
It'd be like if you went to a Rihanna concert and like play "Love the Way You Lie." Like, what's he gonna do? Sing the chorus over and over again? Like that's an Eminem song featuring Rihanna. Like,
that song going. Arcade Fire had a new album. That's very good.
I didn't hear that. I don't mind that new song by Selena Gomez.
I haven't heard that one.
It Ain't Me. You probably don't listen to the radio as much as I do then.
Yeah, I don't.
What was the other one?
Lorde had a new album that was extremely good. It might be one of my favorite albums of the year. Kesha's new album is also extremely good.
Kesha's new album is very good too.
Miley Cyrus is about to have. She has a few new songs that have been overshadowed.
I did like Malibu got some good playtime. Malibu got some good playtime, I think.
Younger Now is very good. I recommend that one.
Who else? That I hate that Coldplay Chainsmokers collaboration.
I can't stand it.
They play it at work all the time. Oh my god.
Yeah, I hear that one a lot actually. But I was going through a lot of those female pop singers, their entire discographies.
Mm-hmm.
So I did Kesha, Lady Gaga, Miley Cyrus, Lorde. And then I found out I don't really like Katy Perry and Taylor Swift songs because I tried to do them too and I couldn't get through it.
Well, Katy Perry, I think the only Katy Perry song that I'm gonna say tolerate, which is if I turn on the radio and it happens to be playing, I'm not gonna immediately change the channel. Is probably
I like Dark Horse.
I was gonna. Is that the one I'm thinking of? No, it was another one. On that same album.
Perfect Storm.
It was on that same album as Dark
Eye
Horse.
of the Tiger.
Roar. Was that the name of the song?
Oh yeah, I think I just said the lyric from that song.
Yeah, Eye of the Tiger is by Survivor and was in Rocky 3. That's not a Katy Perry song.
She says, "I've got the eye of the tiger" in that song. So it's the same thing.
And there was a song about aliens too that I also don't mind. I forgot what it was though.
Yeah, and I was thinking about which female pop singer is the best singer
that's currently active.
Yes, but that's popular and active. I think it's between Lady Gaga, and Miley Cyrus. I think those are the top two of who can sing the best.
For me, if it were between the two, I'd rather have Lady Gaga because I can go back and listen to her older stuff, and it's still her older stuff's still pretty good. I have on my Amazon Music, I have her first album, which I forget the name of, but I still love Poker Face.
That is very true. I don't when I was listening to Miley Cyrus's stuff. I only listened to I start with bangers.
Okay, so you didn't start back with the Hannah Montana days. You started with once she finished that phase of her life.
Yeah, not even just post Hannah Montana. She's still doing arts Party in the USA. I didn't do that album. I started with bangers.
Party in the USA was when she was already Miley Cyrus and she wasn't doing Hannah Montana anymore?
Yep.
Oh. Huh.
That was her first popular album after, I think, Hannah Montana.
Well, all of those Disney pop albums always suck. Like, Selena Gomez's first album was awful. Demi Lovato had a really bad album when she was working for Disney. And then around that same time was when Fearless came out by Taylor Swift, if I remember correctly.
Yes, Lady Gaga is also a pretty good actress. I'm currently in the middle of American Horror Story Hotel, where she plays the Countess in the haunted hotel that has ghosts in it, monsters. She's the head vampire. She's vampires now. And she lost all her money to Bernie Madoff.
There you go. That's nice of her. She's
and she got an abortion, man. But the aborted fetus survived as a vampire. But it stayed a fetus that can like run around and kill people.
It's like, do you ever see that picture of the woman? It's a tweet, and it's like, I love this little baby, even though I tried to abort it 5 times. He kept growing in my pussy.
Yes. That's like always in Philadelphia also. Charlie is a failed abortion.
Everything comes back to it's always sunny in Philadelphia. But what else is there with the... even Taylor Swift's older stuff, though. There's a very small selection of Taylor Swift's older stuff that's actually listenable. Like,
I know Bad Blood.
I know it's not older. I don't mind Blank Space.
I like Trouble. I think that's my favorite Taylor Swift song.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one with the screaming goat in the middle of it. See, and here's the other problem with Taylor Swift is every time a new album comes out, everyone says, okay, her career is over now. This is awful. Because, like, that happened with that song Trouble that happened, and that was the album before 1980 whatever, which is the most recent one before 1984. 1985, that one. Whichever, the one before that was the one that had Trouble on it, and everyone was like, oh, her career is over, look at this giant format change. Then the new one, 1985, comes out, and that one has Bad Blood, which a lot of people hated.
And Blank Space.
Blank Space wasn't as hated as that other one. Shake It Off.
Oh, yes.
Shake It Off was hated a lot worse than Blank Space. Blank Space, I think, had the Wake Me Up When September Ends sequence, where it's not a terrible song, it just got played to all hell, and people got tired of it.
I agree.
Also, like on a more personal note, I tried to learn guitar, and the first one they teach you when you try to learn guitar is Wake Me Up When September Ends, because it's literally the same 6 notes over and over again.
I never liked that song.
Like that and Warning were like the 2 easiest songs to learn on guitar. Because Warning, you just had your hand in a power chord position, and you didn't have to do it. And the tempo was like fast enough that you can work on speed, but slow enough that you didn't like break your wrist trying to do it the first time. So that like, but even her older stuff isn't that good. Like if you go back to like her first, like Tim McGraw, I get tired of hearing. You Belong With Me isn't that good. That stupid song, Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
That song
in freshman year, we read Romeo and Juliet when that song came out, and my teacher made us listen to that song.
That song is that and Check Yes Juliet are the 2 reasons why people do not understand that Romeo and Juliet is meant to be a satire. It's not meant to be a serious romance.
And they're like 12 years old.
Like everyone forgets in the beginning of the play, it starts with Shakespeare saying, "These 2 are retards. Do not do what they do." Like we're making fun of them.
My teacher that freshman year was my English teacher that year was pretty stupid. I remember that was the year in an essay. I used a fake word in the essay, and she didn't call it. The word was strumsolescent.
Oh, the one from SNL.
Sketch.
Yes.
Yes, I said something like I just said like they were strumsolescent. It was like a single sentence.
Okay, it's not like you made. It could have been she just like got the reference and it's like, that's funny.
No, there's no way. And I showed like a bunch of people. Then she got fired, not because of that, just because I think she was stupid.
Just too stupid to handle her job. So what else is going on in the world? Besides music, which we usually don't talk about music.
Trump got tiny gloves, so they wouldn't fit his hands. And then he screamed, "Look how big my hands are!" That happened in Texas.
I still think the funniest thing to happen regarding his newest trip to Texas was when he went to
Did you see him pick up the little black child?
No, I didn't see that. I saw him go to speak, and he commented like, "Look at how big the crowds are," and it's like, because you're standing in the street.
So many people came out to see me.
It's like, because they don't have houses. Like, what else are they gonna do?
And he went to a shelter, and he saw a black toddler, and he went and picked her up, and it's the most awkward thing in the world, because it wasn't a 2-year-old, the kid probably was 5-ish. So
that's not a toddler.
So that's a substantial weight. So he had to lean her, use his whole body to lift her. And the kids, and he holds her under really tight under the kid's arms, so the kid's arms are just straight out on the It looks so funny.
His life is basically one long episode of Veep at this point.
And then he's tweeting I saw the horrible devastation, and he's standing where it's just the street is wet or something.
Yeah.
And he also said, "Wow, this is great. Look at the world watching us. Isn't this awesome?"
I think he's hoping that other hurricane, Irma, comes up the coast and hits us.
Yeah, so they can be "Wow, look." And they can pardon more criminals, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So you hear what they're doing?
Something, I guess. You can go first.
Did you hear what they're doing now, though? So that way he can't pardon people?
Oh, they're charging him with the state crimes.
Yeah, they're working with what's his name, in the New York Attorney General, Schneiderman. They're working with my boy over there, and he's they're going to get him that way. That way he can't pardon anyone before
I got blocked. I got blocked from someone on Twitter.
What did you do?
It wasn't a famous person; it was a regular person.
Oh, okay.
Because I follow Greta Van Susteren on Twitter. She's pretty awesome. She's probably one of my favorite reporters who got fired from Fox News for being neutral, and then got fired from MSNBC for being neutral. Because she really does just report
this is what happened.
She doesn't really put a spin on anything. Yeah, that's and then people get mad at her because literally on every time she tweets something, both sides scream at her. People on the right are "Why are you siding with the libtards?" And then the people on the left are "Wow, you're such a Nazi," because she won't say an opinion with what she's reporting. But she responds to people all the time too. And then this one woman, it was helping Texas is helping America. I feel like people with Sandy could have helped themselves more, and that's why they didn't deserve their aid.
Uh-huh.
And then she was "Well, you don't know the." She just responded "You don't know the facts." So then I tweeted at that woman, "I hope your whole family gets AIDS from contaminated water and dies in Texas."
See, I wonder why you got blocked in the situation.
And then she did not respond.
Well, yeah. Well, no, she did. She just blocked you.
I didn't do that to Greta Van Susteren. I did it to that woman.
No, I know.
Message, not on Twitter. But watching Texas drown, there's some deep satisfaction in me from that. Not the people dying, but seeing Ted Cruz suck dick for money from Congress when he denied New Jersey federal aid.
I still think the funniest thing was, did you see an Inconvenient sequel?
No, not yet.
Well, I saw it. There's a scene early on in the movie where they go to I think it was Tampa, and they're talking about the roads being flooded over, and how in the last few years, every single day, the high tide comes in and floods major roads to the point where you can't pass through them.
That's normal.
And it's it's just the governor of the state is Jeb Bush, who openly denies climate change.
Mm-hmm.
This is the definition of having your head up your own ass at this point.
Yeah, Mark Maron actually talked about that because his mom lives around that area, and he went to visit her, and that happened, and she was just yeah, that just happens now, every day. He was okay, you're okay with this?
Oh, that's normal.
Okay, my other thing that's kind of related to that is with the Nazis uprising, basically.
The Nazi uprising?
Yes. Okay. So I've been annoyed by the Antifa people before, and then.
Do you hear the mayor of Berkeley call them
small...
vegan ISIS the other day? Oh no, not him.
Okay.
That was Trevor Noah called them vegan ISIS the other day or yesterday.
Trevor Noah's not funny. I don't like Trevor Noah at all.
No, he's not.
Okay, so part of Antifa is like violent, but it's like a very small subsection. Like most of them are not violent.
Right.
Sometimes they annoy me. Like I think it would be funny to send them to an actual fascist country and see what happens to them.
Send them to like Chad or like Uganda.
Most part, like I support their message. I say 99% of them are peaceful. There are some of them that are assholes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. But then the difference is like they're annoying. Like the Nazis, like it doesn't matter if they're not violent. Like they're still,
always in the wrong morally.
Yeah, they're still a Nazi. I just got a haircut, and I go to the same barber every time I get a haircut here, and then he's pretty funny, and he like cut my hair and left the top, and then like combed it over, and he's like, "Okay, like you're all finished," and it looked just like all the alt-right douchebag haircuts. And I was just like, "Ha!" It was so funny. He was like, "Oh, I thought you wanted to be alt-right."
I think I like how they're trying to rebrand Nazi like it's something new, and they're like, oh.
And the Democrats are also retarded because they literally have a president that like won't condemn Nazis, and they're not doing anything. But then Nancy Pelosi is like, part of Antifa is bad, and I was like, you can talk about Nazis too.
Like, did you see Tina Fey's bit on Weekend Update?
No, I did not.
Where her eating the cake, just her eating a cake and ranting about the situation. And it's like, and she's like, and you got Paul Ryan over here, like he's the hip young Republican. He's the one who can't at anyone on Twitter. It's like racism is bad. At real Donald Trump, you pussy. Like,
yeah, it is. It's because that's his staunchest supporters are these people.
Like it's ridiculous.
Something else that annoys me actually that's related to that too. Is whenever anything racist happens, people are like, Trump is encouraging these people. And I was like, I think these people would have been racist no matter who the president is.
Exactly. It's not like he's all of a sudden like, you know
like
what?
There was that cop.
Now.
There was that asshole cop that arrested that nurse like last week or like this week.
Or like this morning.
Because it was very recently. But did you see that?
I did see that, yeah. It's like he refused to take blood.
Yeah, she was in the right, and then the cop was an asshole and arrested her.
Right.
And people are like, Trump's enabling police brutality.
Well, he did condone police brutality in a speech on Long Island.
Okay, that is true, but I think that cop would have done that no matter what.
True.
But yeah, Trump, like, it's crazy. I really think Pence is setting himself up very well right now.
Yeah.
Because if you see now, I don't think you ever see them in the same like shot together, and they're like completely separating them. Well, Pence is completely separating himself from Trump.
Yeah.
I think we should. I don't know if we've mentioned like I think the mooch should be Pence's vice president.
Now I think. You know what they should do, which would be the smart way to just end this stupidity now and just call it a day? Like, you know, the 25th
I don't think he'll ever resign, though.
You don't need it.
Yeah, that's basically where you take you just strip away all of his power and just give him a title.
No, that's not even it. The 25th Amendment has a provision where the cabinet can kick the president out of office if he's not mentally stable.
Oh, they should do that. I feel like they're so...
I feel like the cabinet just doesn't know that's a thing.
I think Rex Tillerson does. I feel like he's like... I think he hates Donald Trump.
I love how Omarosa was the only one who didn't resign from anything. Like,
because Omarosa's retarded. Like, fuck her, too. Rex Tillerson's kind of cool. I like whenever he does interviews now and they ask him, he's like, those are the president's words. And he just, like, directly contradicts Donald Trump. And he's just like, this is what I'm doing in, like, the world. He's just, like, running everything.
He's just like, look, I'm the one in charge here. Like, I have better things to do than answer this stupidity. So yeah, this whole thing's a circus, though. I don't know what we expected, though. Did anyone expect anything other than this to happen? Like, was there any chance
ridiculous.
of anything but this happening?
And then I went to high school with a lot of white trash people, and then they all voted for Trump. And they're still on Facebook. They're like, yeah, but imagine if Hillary was president. Like, imagine how much worse it would be. And I'm like,
if Hillary
I'm
was
pretty
president,
sure. I don't think it would be worse. I'm like 90%.
Yeah, I could say
sure.
with about 90% certainty that it would not be worse if Hillary was
Or at least I wouldn't be embarrassed as a citizen of the United States.
That's
like,
true, yeah.
I feel like Hillary Clinton, even if she like did bad shit, she would at least like conduct herself in a somewhat appropriate manner on the world stage.
A matter that is fitting of U.S. president.
He's the oldest. He's also the oldest president we've ever had. I don't think people bring that up enough.
Wait, he's older than Reagan?
Yes, he is older than Reagan. And I think he legitimately has dementia. Have you seen the videos of him aimlessly wandering around, and like he can't see cars?
No, I haven't seen it. I've seen the video of him walking the wrong way, like on the
video where
tarmac.
He's getting off. Yeah, that's the video where there's literally a limo waiting for him at the bottom of Air Force One, and he just wanders away onto the tarmac, just walking around. And then there's other videos of him where he's just wandering around, and then Secret Service is like guiding him, and he like gives the guy a high five. Because the guy's like waving him over, and he just like high fives him and keeps walking. I also saw a very good conspiracy theory that Melania is a Russian spy.
How is she a Russian spy?
She speaks like 10 different languages.
Good for her.
And she's just like a mole that's been implanted into Donald Trump's life, and that's why that's why she won't move into the White House, because she's running her operation out of Trump Tower.
So that's actually not an awful segue to something.
I have one more world political update.
Okay.
In Russia, the elections are coming up soon. I wonder who will win. Who will Putin? Maybe he'll be outed. Who knows?
Yeah, okay.
But he is he does have 99.9% approval ratings.
That's true. Very hard to beat that. But tangentially related to Trump, and more related to stuff that we usually discuss on the show. Marvel just ended their more recent event, Secret Empire. Which had started right before Secret Wars, where Captain America, I don't know how it happened, but Captain America somehow de-aged again, back to being a regular super soldier. But That's cool. Also turned out he was actually a Hydra sleeper agent.
Okay.
For his entire life.
Oh yeah, I remember this. And people shit themselves.
Yeah, they were upset because it's a disgrace to the memory of
Stanley.
Of Jack Kirby, and what would Stan Lee think of this? And Stan Lee's like, this is pretty fucking cool. Yeah,
it's a good plot twist.
Exactly, it's an interesting twist, and the way that it happened was, there was a sentient version of the Cosmic Cube that Red Skull used to alter his memories and basically take Steve Rogers, throw him to the back burner, and create a Hydra version of Captain America. So what he does is he becomes like the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., tricks the government into sending, he sends all the cosmic heroes who could kill him into space to build a force field. Then as soon as they're done before they can come in, he turns the force field on so they can't come back in. And he's like, okay, the world is mine now, and I'm Hydra. So he takes over the world that way. Meanwhile, there's a subplot going on where Falcon and a few other characters meet a lost man who time traveled from World War II, and it's confirmed to be Steve Rogers from World War II, which is, him with the... Something happens with Thor's hammer. I haven't finished reading... I haven't read the event yet. I guess I read summaries of the event so far. Something happens early on with Thor's hammer, and he gets access to it, and so he thinks he's worthy of Thor's hammer, even as a Hydra operative. So shenanigans happen for 8 issues, and then then what happens is the Cosmic Cube. They eventually plead with the Cosmic Cube, and it manifests. That whole subplot that was going on with the lost Captain America was actually in his head the whole time. and the Cosmic Cube brings that Steve Rogers out of his head and creates a physical version of him. And that Steve Rogers face fucks the Hydra Captain America with Thor's hammer. And that's how the story ends.
At least it ends.
And then the Cosmic Cube like reverts everything that it can and like erases everyone's memory of it, except for the fact that there's no explanation as to why Las Vegas got destroyed. Like, Las Vegas got destroyed during the event, but there's no explanation as to how it happened or why everyone's dead. It just kind of happened, and no one can remember why.
That's fun.
So, a lot of people hated it. Hated the resolution.
Well, it's a comic book, so...
Exactly. Well. Like, if you devote...
Like
I thought it was interesting, because I don't think I've ever seen anything like that happening. Like, where they pull... Like, I've seen things where it's like they push the conscious of the person to the back burner, like multiple personality disorder, and then they gotta, like, bring the other person out.
Yeah.
But never physically, so he can beat the crap out of the person he became. So that way Captain America's back to normal.
That's good.
So, yeah. So,
I just watched... it has something to do with a book, kind of. So it's related. Video Game Donkey did a review of the movie The Shining that is very good, and I recommend it.
What was the other thing that did we do an episode since the Movie Pass thing happened?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think we've done an episode since Comic-Con. This happened after Comic. It happened like 2 weeks ago, so we definitely haven't.
Is this the thing where you pay like a monthly fee to see movies?
Oh, yes. This is probably the greatest news ever if you're a fan of movies. So there's a company out there called Movie Pass, and what you do is you pay, when it started out with $50 a month, and you get a card, it's like a debit card from them, that when you go to like your AMC or your Cinepass or your Regal or wherever you go to consume the fine art of cinema, and DC movies, you do you ever see the thing? It's like the glass is half full, the glass is half empty, and it's like the DC fan. It's like the glass is actually a masterpiece, and you just don't get it because your small mind can't understand it.
That makes sense.
But it's like they so you get this card in the mail, and then anytime you go to the movies, when you go to the kiosk and you ring up, you swipe the Cinepass, the Movie Pass card, and you get one swipe per day. You get one free movie per day with it. So for $50 I'm in New York, so $50 I can go, if I go to matinees, I can go 10 times in a month, and then it starts getting free. Or if I'm going to like night showings, after 3 showings, it pays for itself.
That's impressive.
You thought that was impressive. Well, strap the fuck in, motherfucker.
Buckle up.
They lowered the price to $10 a month.
A month?
A month.
Crazy.
$10 a month. You get to go to one movie a day for free.
That's intense.
So if I go to 2 matinees or if I go to a premiere night showing, I've already saved $3, and then every movie after that is free. If I go to 2 matinees, that pays for itself after 2.
How is it? Do they up the? Do you have to like sign a contract and they like up the price or something?
No. You see, the thing is, and here's the thing. It's a real, I was going to say Sophie's Choice, but I think this isn't quite as important as Sophie's Choice. When you sign up, the company was bought out by a data mining company.
So you have to, like...
So the company is monitoring what movies you watch and selling it to advertisers.
I don't want them to know that. I'm just kidding. I don't give a shit.
Exactly. Like, if you're gonna give me free movies, you can like I'll give you my social. I'll give you whatever.
Sure, like I use Amazon. I have Alexa in my bedroom, so
Amazon just listens to you sleep and tells Amazon how you sleep, so it can recommend what melatonin to get you.
Exactly. And like Amazon knows all my music preferences. Google listens to you while you're on the phone, and will recommend things based on what you're talking about.
That makes sense as to why I'm getting recommendations to places that I've interviewed at.
Yeah.
So that's I think it's a good thing. A lot of theaters are not happy with it. AMC has stopped allowing MasterCards
because that's what MoviePass is on.
MoviePass runs on MasterCards, so if you
they
ban
can MasterCard, stop it without banning MoviePass.
Exactly, because the thing is they're in contract with MoviePass. They can't outright break the contract, but if they stop allowing MasterCard,
they're in contract when it was $50 a month.
Yep. Then it goes on the tenant. It's like, wait, now we're going to lose money. And MoviePass is like, well, really, you're not. Because what happens is MoviePass is still paying the full ticket price each time you go. You don't pay the ticket price. You, the consumer and the viewer, don't pay it. MoviePass pays it to AMC. So AMC loses nothing. MoviePass makes a profit. And we get to see movies for free. And the thing is, this whole thing with AMC not being happy with it, do you know what this reminds me of? When Redbox and Netflix came out, how Blockbuster was like, wait, what the fuck?
And I remember when Blockbuster could have bought Netflix.
Yep. That was a mistake.
And then they tried to make their own subscription service.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah, I just looked up because I just went to MoviePass's website. So I typed in my zip code to see where I can use it. And AMC just bought my favorite movie theater, so I wouldn't be able to go there anymore. But there's another one. There's a Regal very close to me, so I'd just go up there, I guess. And I know you're concerned about this. The Regal here also has the cool
RPX theaters
roller coaster sequence.
Yes. Also, the other thing is that they're not acknowledging is that MoviePass is really good for smaller theaters.
Because of snacks.
No, because if anyone tells you that small theaters don't make a profit from seeing the movies, that's true. But they do make back some money from showing the movie. I've read it's like 75% of the ticket price goes back to the studio, but that 25% they still get the pocket. And if you're saying that these smaller theaters that can't compete with the other ones are going to have the ability to see the movie for free with the subscription service, maybe it's not a bad thing if these big companies go out of business.
Yeah, but a lot of smaller theaters are pretty shitty.
See, I'm not gonna deny you that because I live very close to a small theater, and that theater is it's one of those theaters where you get a free stabbing with every movie ticket.
Yeah, that's I remember it wasn't that bad, but there was a small movie theater by me that was the closest one. And I used to go there when I was younger, and then when we got older, we went to the newer, nicer, bigger one. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, we should go here, it's close. And then we went, and I was like, wow, this is a bad idea. The screens are so tiny.
I don't know why I don't think it's a good idea. Let me see.
Yeah, it was a 3-minute closer drive.
That was worth it. But yeah, it's anytime you gotta, deal with almost getting stabbed to get a movie ticket, it's not worth it. Fortunately, all of the movie theaters in my area take it. According to even AMC, I guess if you use the app and buy the tickets in advance, they can't deny it. Or maybe it still can work with, what's it called? Maybe it works with Fandango in some way.
I think I deleted Fandango because I just would go in person.
Where if it works with Fandango, then that's how you would get around that problem. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, it's you can go opening night to see movies for free.
That is intense.
The thing is, though, and I know maybe this is going to turn off a lot of people. There's one slight problem with this. It's only 2D movies.
Yeah, that for me doesn't matter.
No 3D, no IMAX, no RPX, no premium formatting. Just standard 2D movies.
That's worth it.
I'll live with it. I'll take it. I don't see many 3D. I only see a 3D movie if the 2D showing is full. I saw Guardians of the Galaxy in 3D because the 2D showing was full. Same thing with Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah, I didn't know about this. Now that you told me it, I am seriously consider getting this.
I'm still waiting for my card to come in the mail. The day they announced, or the day I read the article about how they dropped the price that much, I was like, sign me up. Because at that point, I was like, I don't care if it's a scam or not. I'll take losing a few dollars in a scam if this is real. It's not a scam. Because that was the thing. My first thought is
$50 is too much.
Right. I think even if it was $20 though, that'd be worth it. That gives you, if you go one movie a week, that's good. But this, if you go once a month, it's worth it. Like, it's better than the perk I get at work to take off on movie tickets, which is like 20% off the ticket price. But like $3 off is better than 20%. So yeah, I think that's it for Movie Pass. I feel like there was another major thing that happened in the last... Oh, I don't think we talked about this because it was announced after Comic-Con. Gal Gadot has been announced to be reprising her role as Wonder Woman in the Flashpoint movie. I can hear your uproarious applause from here, Peter. Actually, I have one more thing to address before we talk about the African Queen. Going to the movies. I'm gonna stress this every week between now and the end of the year, because I don't know if you're aware of this. There's another major movie event happening at the end of this year. And if the previous two times I went to see one of these movies in theaters is any indication, all of you who go to see this movie are immense assholes.
You're talking about Star Wars?
Yes, I'm talking about Star Wars. Now, yesterday was Force Friday. I went out and bought the new Kylo Ren pop figure, because they did not have Rey, so I have Kylo Ren. He still has his lightsaber, with the little tri thingy on it. He looks like a samurai, though. Like the way his... Like, it looks like a samurai armor. And the scar is way less in the middle of his face than it was on at the end of The Force Awakens. The scar also looks a lot like Anakin's scar in Episode 3. Mm-hmm. So if I have some speculation here. I think you can turn back to the light side in this movie.
Yeah.
That's my theory. At this point, they have pop figures for everything though. They have Rey with her lightsaber. They have Luke with like his walking stick. They have the Porgs, which are those weird penguin-like creatures. Chewbacca holding a Porg. There's a BB-8. There's no Leia, which makes me think that she's going to be in a Wave 2 or going to be an exclusive to some store like Toys R Us or Walgreens or something like that. And there's also a BB-9E pop figure. That was the cue for you to ask me what BB-9E is.
Okay, fine. I thought it was like BB-8's real name or something.
No.
Like Wikipedia.
No. And I already said they have a BB-8 toy. BB-9E is the evil BB-8.
Is that happening in the new Star Wars?
Yes. In the new movie, there is an evil BB-8.
That's going to be really... This movie is not... Just from hearing that, I am not excited about the new Star Wars.
Do you know why there's BB-9E?
Why?
Because in 2014 or 2015, when they came out with BB-8, they had the Sphero toy, which a ton of people bought and loved. It was a 150 app-controlled robot. Now you can buy a second one because it's black and its head looks like an Imperial headdress rather than... Did you look up what it looks like, BB-9E?
Yeah, it's like it has a square head instead of a round head.
Yeah.
Basically it. And it's all black.
So there's an evil BB-8 in the new movie. So now, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 in theaters on opening night. If you read my review on our website, which is 30minute review. What is the website? I know it's something close to our name, but I don't think it actually is our name because like it was taken or something. No, it is 30minutereviews.com. No, the Twitter handle is 30minreview. Because we couldn't fit the whole thing in the Twitter handle. So if you go on the website, you can see my review, and I said I felt like something was off about this movie. And you know what was off about the movie? The showing I went to.
Lack of Glenn Close.
Well, that was missing too. But that wasn't the real void that I felt seeing this movie. You know what the problem was? The showing. Everyone laughed at every joke really loud.
Yeah, it's that horrible forced laugh.
Like,
happens at every movie.
Like there's one joke that's like not outrageously funny. It's just kind of it's just kind of funny, like haha kind of thing, where it's right when Peter meets Ego, and he goes and he's talking to him, and Ego says to him like, "Now I finally get the chance to be the father I always wanted to be." And in the same like tone of voice and still looking at him with the fatherly gaze, he goes, "Now excuse me, I gotta take a whiz," and he walks away. Like, it's funny, and it's a interesting, it's a funny joke, and it's a good insight into the way Kurt Russell's playing the character. But if you've seen that scene in Goodfellas where he tells the joke, where Joe Pesci tells the joke in the restaurant, and everyone's laughing, like over the top laughing, that's what the theater was doing every time a joke was made. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, the entire theater doesn't need to know you thought that joke was funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, haha, that was good. Like, and the thing is, like, they make fun of it in the Honest Trailer, where it's like they don't give you a chance to like. There's a lot of laughter in the movie of people laughing at jokes, but like, it's not as bad as the Honest Trailer makes it seem. Where it's like there are a few times where it's like. There's a bit with Rocket and Taserface, which is like the funniest part of the movie, where Rocket's making fun of his name, and like that, like everyone's laughing in that scene, like okay, because he's making fun of the guy, and it's like there's a point to it, and then like Rocket laughing at the Groot taking the guy's eye, instead of getting the fin that he needs to get them, like. Rocket's laughing like, and he won't know where his eye is when he wakes up. Like, yeah, that's in character for Rocket because that was a running joke in the previous movie. Like, the problem is, if I'm in the showing with you, I do not want to hear the entire theater laughing because the movie is not a sitcom. It's not filmed like a sitcom where there's time for everyone to look at the camera and be like, go ahead and laugh. And there's no pause. The movie just keeps going. Like, because it's funny, but it's not a comedy. Like, and I'm going to reiterate this. I'm going to reiterate this every week between now and December 16th. If you have a problem with a character dying, do not rock in your chair and say, this isn't good, I don't like this, for the entire rest of the movie, because I may gouge your eyes out with a pen. Because that's also annoying.
If you're one of these people that need to go to a movie theater and applaud at a movie theater,
yes, that's another thing.
You have too much social anxiety to act like a normal human in day-to-day life. Just kill yourself now. Like, don't fuck me, like annoy me when I'm at this movie theater.
Exactly. Like when we saw Star Wars. The Force Awakens, every time something happened, you would have thought there was a sign that said applaud over the screen.
Yeah.
Like the Millennium Falcon appears, yay!
It's different, like, I'm fine with people making noise, like laughing, and, like gasping and stuff. Like, that's fine. Like, I'm not mad if anyone makes any noise. It's like very specific forced laughter at Marvel movies. Right. And literal applauding, cheering at Star Wars movies.
Like, when we saw Batman v Superman, there was that line where he's like, crime waving Gotham. Other news. Water. Wet.
Yeah.
Like, that joke is funny, and there wasn't, like, this, like, uproarious laughter in the theater. It's like, ha ha ha. And then it's like, and then it goes back to watching the movie, which is what you paid $20 to do.
Well, it's a maturity level of the two audiences.
That's true.
Yes. Cinema, and other people go there to have sugar shoved down their throats.
Yes.
Although I just heard a very depressing fact about Marvel movies, where you can like look up the release order of like for the next 12 years of Marvel movies.
Yeah. See, DC used to be able to do that, but then their movies shit the bed, and then they had to cancel everything.
More exciting. I'd rather just like, oh, the movie's coming out next month.
But what was it? I had one other thing about the. I think I had something else about that with the Marvel and the DC movies. I think I screenshotted this, but I never sent it to you, and I always intended to, and it was weeks ago. It was an article from Variety. The current cut, as it stands, of Justice League is unwatchable. So
why?
They don't say there's a high level executive in Warner Brothers, and this is Variety. This isn't like Humberto Gonzalez or something like that, who has like a 50-50 track record or something like that. This is like Variety, which is an actual news source. They're not fake news. They said that the current cut is unwatchable.
Uh-oh.
And if we're going to talk about unwatchable, Inhumans comes out this weekend in theaters, and that movie's only going to make $1.2 million.
That's funny.
$1.2 million in its one weekend showing. Because no one's excited for this. And I think that this is the greatest thing to happen to Marvel. Because maybe, just maybe, it'll force them to look at Perlmutter and say, this guy needs to go. Yep. Because this is entirely his fault. Like, entirely. There's no reason for the show to be this bad. This could have worked as a movie, but the problem was Perlmutter wanted the movie to happen. It was why Captain Marvel was happening. It was a trade-off with Feige and Perlmutter. Feige wanted Captain Marvel, Perlmutter didn't. He wanted Inhumans. He's like, fine, if you let me do the Captain Marvel movie, we'll do the Inhumans. And he's like, okay, fine. So then they do that big announcement thing they did back in 2014, I think it was, before Civil War. And they announced all the movies for Phase 3. And they go, alright, and we're going to do Inhumans as an afterthought. Then Inhumans got canceled and put on the back burner, and then it was fully canceled, and they announced that it was going to be a TV show instead. Now, herein lies my problem. Marvel TV and Marvel films have a very weird situation, where ever since the coup, if you will, where Feige managed to wrestle control away from Perlmutter and put himself at the reins with the financial backing of Bob Iger and Disney. When that happened, the TV and the film sections basically separated. And while the TV shows are still based in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the references to it have kind of waned. So, like, if you look at, like, Daredevil, like, the only references are, like, the incident and, like, the Battle of New York. Like, in Jessica Jones, is like, how many other superheroes are there? It's like, well, there's the Green Guy and his crew. And, you know, it's stuff like that. And then, like, even, like, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. hasn't quite crossed over to Marvel, to the movies in any meaningful way. Like, last season, while the last season was happening, Doctor Strange came out, and there was no real tie-in episode to Doctor Strange, which was weird because every other movie always tied in. So that happens, and Perlmutter's like, fine, you know what, fuck me, fuck you, I'm gonna make the Inhumans anyway. And in Marvel Comics, they started pushing the X-Men aside, and they're trying to replace the X-Men with the Inhumans. And that wasn't working. People were like, bring back the X-Men, we don't like this stupidity. So, like, alright, fine. So they begrudgingly brought back the X-Men, and that's when they did X-Men vs. Inhumans, and then they did Resurrection and Death of X. It was Resurrection with an X in it. Because it's the X-Men. you get the joke, or should I get the whiteboard? And,
no, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I don't think I need to be explained.
So they. This is where my planner went. So then this starts happening, and the first picture comes out for the Inhumans, and that's where the mild worry started to set in, because the first cast picture made it look more like the porn parody of the Inhumans than the actual Inhumans TV show. Then came the trailers, and the trailers are awful. And it shows a lack of fundamental understanding of the source material. Then there is the show itself that's now coming out. And you know what the problem with the TV show as it stands now is? You have no reasons to root for the protagonist. Because the bad guy is Ramsay Bolton, playing a different character. And he wants to overthrow the royal family with Medusa and Black Bolt and all of them. So what he does is he leads a coup, and they get exiled to Earth. Now, do you know why he wanted to overthrow them? Because they believe in a caste system where anyone who doesn't have a good inhuman power is a slave and has to live in the mines. What reason do I have to root for them? Like, there's nothing good. Like Ramsay Bolton's right here. Like, why is this a like? I don't understand. Like, how did you screw this up so bad?
Yeah.
So that debuts this weekend. You might as well just sit home. Don't DVR it either. They canceled Agent Carter for this shit, so maybe they'll bring back Agent Carter. I think that's all the news I have for this week. Do you want to intro the African Queen, since you selected the movie?
Can I first go on a rant about how much Neil deGrasse Tyson sucks?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, Neil deGrasse Tyson calls himself a scientist. But he sucks. And he's the most annoying fuck in the world. Like, he's the reason people hate scientists, I think.
Yeah.
And so I actually met him when I was younger, because he ran the New York Planetarium, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I met him there at an event when I was young, and he was nice. It's not like when I was a little kid, he was just like, fuck you, little kid. So I always liked him because I was like, I met him, so I was like, I know a famous person. But in recent years, he's an annoying fuck on Twitter. Like when he was in Gravity, he's just like, this couldn't happen. And I'm like, it's a fucking movie. Shut up. That's literally every time a science fiction movie comes out, Neil deGrasse Tyson is just like, that actually can't happen.
That was they made fun of him for that on SNL, where it's like Keenan played him, and it's like, you see, when the eclipse happens, I'm going to take a break from making a video about all of the scientific inaccuracies in the new Planet of the Apes movie, and go out and watch the eclipse.
Yeah, and then he tweeted recently. I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically like, the brain is the simplest thing in the world, but we're just not asking the right questions.
Like, okay, then, what are the questions we should be asking there, Doc? Like,
he literally, so one of my friends brought this up. He put any other science that isn't physics that he does, or that he reads about, he puts down as not real science. So like neuroscience, like all the other ones, he says like they're not as important as what he likes to research.
Yeah.
So recently, he tweeted, the first word of the first comment spoken for the moon was Houston. Houston, tranquility base here. The Eagle has landed. Mm-hmm. Then someone replied to him, upon feeling the first of the landing leg softly touch the lunar surface, Buzz Aldrin said, "Contact light." That was actually the first comment. Then Neil deGrasse Tyson said, "The word contact began a short series of statements related to the state of the vessel. I don't think of them as comments."
But you said the first comment.
Yeah, but so he said, so he doesn't acknowledge it, and someone just like, then someone responded back, wow, I love what you do. However, you literally can never be wrong, can you? Then Neil deGrasse Tyson responded with a smiley face and said, my tweets are worded with more thought than most people will ever know, necessary to fit ideas into 125 characters.
If you put any given quote from Neil deGrasse Tyson on a fat white guy with a fedora,
it's the R I am very smart.
Yes. Did you
That's
love
like everything he says.
I think the other thing was
about
they also made fun with his whole thing. It's like because he was talking about how he was gonna go he's gonna drive down to Georgia and strip off all of his clothes and watch the eclipse naked, and he's like, and I will just let the sun ravage me like that, and then it's like Colin goes to him, is like, so let me get this straight, you're gonna take a day off, and he's like, yes, and drive down to Georgia, indeed. And when you get to Georgia, put on your eclipse glasses. Absolutely. And when you put on your eclipse glasses, you're going to strip off your clothing. I am very smart. Like, the entire thing, like, he is such an... Like, I don't need someone to tell me that the events of Star Wars can't happen. I don't think there's anyone
Bill
out
Nye
there who's not a
like,
child.
Yeah, Bill Nye is... He's an asshole sometimes, but Bill Nye, I feel like, is much better in every way than Neil deGrasse Tyson is.
Yeah, exactly. Why? Because he's black.
But he is a lot black. Like, now that I'm in more of an academic setting and interacting with PhDs a lot more, that is how a lot of them act, where if you contradict them on anything, then they, like, explain it away somehow. And
they stipulate it to the point where it's like, okay, we get it. Like, you have an alternative reason why this should fit.
Yeah, exactly. I also, Breitbart had a good article about why Neil deGrasse Tyson's an idiot. I'll read the first paragraph of it because it's kind of funny. It's two things. Okay, Neil deGrasse Tyson made a decision a long time ago to be a sort of media cheerleader for science instead of an actual scientist. And although he isn't a great communicator, it was the right decision because he was unlikely ever to trouble the Nobel Committee. Also, he is stupid and his politics are dumb. It's a very highbrow article.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is a good paragraph. Tyson, who liberals love because they are racist who can't believe a black guy could be smart enough to be a scientist, and so spontaneously ejaculate and soil themselves every time they see him on TV, hasn't published anything of note for years. The advantage of being a celebrity scientist is that you don't actually have to do any science. You're exempted from the usual publish or perish rules. This is 100% true. He does not actually do anything. He just tweets. Like, he also tweeted, he was just like, we all accept that the eclipse is real, but no one we all accept that science predicted that the eclipse happened, but don't accept global warming exists.
It's like, yeah.
It's a little bit different.
Like, Columbus predicted an eclipse, too. Like, we've been doing this for centuries.
Yeah. And he also failed out of his first PhD program.
There you go.
And he said it was because of racism, but then they, like, talked to people there, and it's just because he didn't show up.
I did not use racism as an excuse for why I failed out. Huh. Well, I didn't fail out either.
Yeah, you should have tried doing it.
You're racist against white people. But yeah, I think that...
The girls on the bus.
Oh my god. And they got off, too, about that.
I thought they, like, took a plea bargain or something.
I think, like, 2 of them got off and one of them got, like, community service or something.
I think 2, yeah. They all got expelled.
And rightfully so.
I think that's
they
why
incited a race war. Or tried to incite a race war.
But I think that's why they weren't, like, sent to prison, is because they all got expelled, so they, like, took that into account during sentencing.
Plus, you can't really, like, they've already destroyed their reputations. Like, no college is going to take them now.
Well, 2 of them just, like, there was one of them that actually committed, like, crimes, and then the other 2 just kind of, like, went along with it. So I think those 2, once they got expelled, they're like, oh, okay. And then the third one, I remember the judge saying, like, literally all you have to do is apologize, and we'll let you off. And she wouldn't apologize.
Yeah, because she was like, but we did something important. We brought a national issue to the spotlight. And then 3 days after it was confirmed to be fake, Hillary Clinton tweeted about it. People forget about that.
That was an exciting time in our undergrad days.
Yeah.
It went away for one weekend.
Yeah.
And there was a race war on campus.
They try to incite a race war, and it's like, if you guys apologize, we'll let you off. And it's like, no.
And then the Black Lives Matter people came and were held a rally for them. And they stood in front and told their story of racism. And then they were just oh wait, it didn't happen.
Now, for equal opportunity, there was a story about a white guy who ended up getting driven off campus that was also completely untrue.
Yes, that was, he also lied. He never even went to school here.
Yeah.
He just might have been on the bus. And then,
I don't even think he was on the bus.
Yeah, he was on the bus and then made up a story about how he had to leave campus because he was being hunted by Black Lives Matter. And that was also all made up.
You sure that wasn't that kid Kai who was college Republicans?
Yeah, there was that one kid.
Quite a few characters.
The kid that ran the college libertarian front.
Oh my god, that was hilarious.
I did
became the college anarchist club.
I did like them because they brought I told people that our I don't know if any of you know this, but our undergrad had a student Supreme Court that actually issued decisions and sentencing.
The student government actually did things.
What the fuck? I hate. Yeah, and I was people wasted their time on this. But then that kid, I forgot what his name was, but he brought a case because that's when the fucks. I forget what his fucking name was, but he fucking
Mark
sucks.
Cohen. Probably Mark Cohen.
Fucking Mark Cohen.
That's a Mark Cohen thing to do.
They found out they were using all the money to go on leadership trips.
Which were high-end trips to these expensive places,
Oh yeah, but that's when and then that one kid was sending money to his family or something from student fund.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. That's something else.
This was the guy. He brought the case to the Supreme Court and laid out all of this evidence and got that kid kicked out of school.
The whole thing was ridiculous. And the people in student government thought they were so much more important than they actually were.
Oh yeah, that's it was so much fun to make fun of them because they actually thought they were going to all become senators.
They came
because
door
they were
to
in
door.
student government.
The best was one of them. I don't think it was Mark. I think it was another kid who was friends with Mark, who was also in student government. He was in my. I majored in political science. He was in my New York State government class, and we had to do a presentation. There was one of those classes where instead of a final, you have a presentation to do. So we're doing it, and he goes. And you know how anytime that happens, the professor's always everyone should ask questions if they want to, but then there's the unspoken rule of don't be that asshole who asks the questions.
Or just if you can ask a curiosity question, but don't try to
don't try to sing someone else's thing because then they're gonna do it to you. It's game theory. It's literally it's one of the things we learned in 102 was game theory was if you're doing an iterated game, and this is completely nothing we ever talk about, but I feel the need to use my degree somehow, and I'm not doing it at my current job, so except for when I was explaining the Electoral College to people after the election. So the game theory is if you're doing an iterated game, with the more the prisoner's dilemma than anything else, you get to where, say, me and you rob a bank. Okay?
Yeah.
I think we did this in one of our other classes, too. I feel like you were in one of the classes with me where we talked about this. We rob a bank, and we steal $100,000. If both of us talk, we both get nothing. If one of us talks, if you talk and I don't, you get $100,000, and I get nothing. And if I talk and you don't, I get $100,000 and you get nothing. But if neither of us talk, we both get $50,000 because we have to split it. So if you don't know how long it's going to go on, what's the best way to do it? The best way to do it is both of you to not talk, because then you both get money and you both don't go to jail. Yeah,
exactly.
So that's basically what this is. You don't want to do anything stupid because then when you're in the situation, you're going to get fucked. That's what happens. So this kid, I'm doing my presentation. It was about, I forgot, maybe I think it was mayoral control of schools in New York City. And the 2009 crisis that happened with that. And at the end of it, he goes to me, well, what would Sheldon Silver think about that? And I'm like,
would you be like, he would probably try to rape someone?
See, his thing was he interned in Sheldon Silver's office, this kid, and I'm like, I don't think that matters because he's on trial for corruption right now.
Yeah, exactly.
like I shut that kid down. And I don't like usually doing that, but if you're gonna be an asshole, I'll shut you down. But yeah, the whole student government was ridiculous. The newspaper was the best though, because the newspaper was constantly shitting all over the government.
They used to. Then they became pussies.
Yeah, early on they were very much like, look what the government's doing. It was like having the Boston Globe Spotlight division,
yes.
But on the university level for something that doesn't matter anywhere in the world. It's not like they're not uncovering molestation or anything like that. They're uncovering misuse of funds and how it's the government doesn't actually the dues that you pay to the government out of your tuition aren't actually going toward you. It goes into a fund for the government to use the way they want it.
And that's when they had to. That's when Bill Nye got brought, because for 2+ years they actually weren't doing anything.
Yeah, they literally brought no one to campus, and it's because they kept spending all the money on themselves. But even going back to high school, that's what ended up happening. If you wanted to be in student government was basically a secret club that you couldn't get into if you didn't start in 4th grade when it first started, and then you were if you did get into it. It was you guys could go on all these trips. You had special treatment. You had to go do whatever you wanted. That's what student government was in college too. So here's my advice to you: if you like metaphorically getting your dick sucked by the administration, go into student government.
Or try to shut it down from the inside.
That's true.
Just come up with all these problems.
In my bureaucratic politics class, the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice on the Supreme Court was in it.
That must have been a fucking easy job.
That was an annoying class. Oh my god, that professor was an asshole. I did a presentation, and he had no maximum time for the presentation, just a minimum. And I did a presentation about, I forgot what it was. But the thing was, he couldn't even be bothered to know what I was doing it on, because he put the wrong information in the schedule. And then he failed me by a point. He's like, well, your presentation wasn't long enough. I was like, I had a clock in front of me. You said I had to go 3 minutes at minimum, and I did 7. No, it wasn't 10 like everyone else, but there was no maximum time. So, now we can go on to The African Queen.
Yes.
Which, a movie a lot less racist than I thought it was going to be.
That's what I was like, oh god, this movie, it's going to be pretty bad. But then it was not that bad.
Is that why you picked it?
No, I just heard of it before, and I heard it was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, let's see. And it was pretty good.
Yeah. It's the movie that the Disney ride The Jungle Cruise is based on.
Huh.
And then once you say it, when someone tells you that, you're like, oh yeah, I see that now.
Yes. There was a lot less Africans in it than I thought also.
Yes.
Because only in the beginning, there's a bunch of Africans. And I think they did a good job making fun of the missionary movements and how failed it was.
Yeah.
Where they were just trying to do this, and the Africans were just what the fuck is happening?
I like how the first 2/3 of the movie, the majority of the dialogue, is Katharine Hepburn saying Humphrey Bogart's name.
I didn't catch that.
But she asked questions in a very formal way. I forgot the guy's name, but she's like, Mr. whatever his name is, do you think we could do this? And he's like, well, I don't see why not. And it's like, Mr. whatever. Every sentence she says from the time they get onto the boat to the end of the movie is started with his name.
Yeah. I think it was filmed in Africa, too.
Yeah, it was filmed on location. That was in the opening.
And there was underwater camera shots, which is one of the first. I think that's one of the first movies that happened.
Well, it had to be 1950 something. This movie.
1951.
Oh.
So in this movie, Katharine Hepburn and her brother are missionaries in Africa, and they're even it's nice because they're obviously super religious because they're missionaries, but they're like nice to the Africans. But they make them sit in church all day. It looks like, so that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And then it's at the beginning of World War One, and then Germans come and like burn down the village and I guess scatter the Africans. They just kind of or they're all dead. I don't know. Yeah. Or they make them join the army, I think, too, or something like that.
I don't remember. They just kind of all vanish, and the movie just follows Katharine Hepburn and Humphrey Bogart for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, because then her brother like gets slapped by a German and then goes insane and dies. Then Humphrey Bogart's like this cool captain, and he's like, rivers are male sometimes, and he has a lot of gin, and he's like, okay, I guess we should leave because the Germans are going to kill us. Then they're sailing on the boat, and she's like, we should attack the Germans.
And he's like, or we could not do that.
She comes up with this plan, like, we're gonna fucking sail into that lake and blow up the biggest battleship the Germans have in this little ship. Let's fucking go.
And he's just like, or we can go home.
And she's like, you know how to fix ships. Build me a fucking torpedo.
And he's just like, after a certain point, he's like, well, maybe I'll get laid out of this. So he starts doing it anyway. Like,
and then he drinks a case of gin.
And builds a torpedo.
And then there's like this whole part where they go by this big fort that the Germans took over. And it's literally it's a very good, if you're a person that puts off things in the last minute, this is a good movie for you to watch. Because they know they have to sail past this fort that has Germans all over it, where the Germans have a very clear view of the river and will shoot any boat that goes past them that's not a German boat. Mm-hmm. And they address this like problem like, oh, we need to do something about this.
They address it pretty early on too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, like literally, like we're going this part of the river, like because his plan is we'll just hide out like at this like in the jungle basically until the war's over, which is also probably not the greatest plan.
Neither of them had good ideas in this movie. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, and then so they're like, okay, well, we have to think of something because we're gonna get shot when we go here. Like we have to go at night or like figure out a way to sneak around it. But and then so they say it a couple times, and then literally they're like, "We're at the fort," and it's like in the middle of the day, and then they start getting shot at.
Yeah, but the movie was pretty good, and then it's like they get to they do eventually get to the battleship.
Oh, and it does represent African rivers very well because they are the worst rivers in the world, and it's part of why Africa isn't as developed in the center as it should be, like compared to other countries with river systems. Because all of Africa's rivers are cut up with like big waterfalls, and it's impossible to actually go through all the rivers in like one go because of how horrible the rapids are, and that's why they don't really have a trading system with the rivers. And I think this movie did a good job also explaining that. And I think it's hard to do for a movie from like the 50s to the censorship. I think they do like when they get stuck in like the marshes before the lake. I think that was very grueling, and it was actually showed hardship, which I think was hard to do at that time in movies. Mm-hmm. And I think it was nice. I think Humphrey Bogart and Katharine Hepburn are around the same age.
Yeah, it's not like
because a lot of movies that time. Yeah, where it's like Humphrey Bogart and then like an 18-year-old.
18? What the hell are you waiting so long for in these movies?
Yeah,
they used to match like Humphrey Bogart and like a 16-year-old.
Oh yeah, so then because he has supplies because it's like a trading ship.
Yeah.
They lose all the gin, sadly, but then they have gunpowder, I think, and like air cylinders. So they build a torpedo, but it's not a torpedo that you launch. It is a torpedo that you attach to your own ship, and then ram into the other ship.
Now you may be thinking this plan is awful. You are correct.
And it is. Because it's... And they also don't address that until like the very end. They're like, okay, well, we're going to die, so you probably should stay here.
Yeah, they needed to work on the planning.
They sink.
Like, they had enough time, too. It's not like they could... It's not like they were like, okay, let's just rush and get this boat. It's like, okay, let's just take our time and, let's get there. Like, they could have taken...
The miniatures on this were very good, too.
Yeah. Like, it's like Star Wars in that way.
Yeah, it was very good. There was some humor. Some funny moments.
Yeah. I did like the way the movie... Like, I did like the soundtrack was very good, too.
They just played Africa by Toto over and over again.
On a loop. For 2 hours.
Yeah.
So that episode of Family Guy that, after I saw it, got Africa by Toto stuck in my head for like a week. The episode with the flashback to Joe's, how Joe met Bonnie. And they play back-to-back the entire song, Africa. Like, it to completion. Twice in a row. Yeah, I think if you haven't already seen this movie, I definitely recommend seeing it.
Directed by John Huston.
Who else did he direct? The name sounds familiar.
That's why I said it. I don't know what else.
You're like, he'll know this. Look, I have my first
in 1987.
Okay.
Oh, he directed The Maltese Falcon.
Okay,
and The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, which I watched in one of my film classes.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen if you haven't already seen this movie, I would definitely recommend you go on Netflix and watch it. Oh,
he's also the narrator to the Black Cauldron cartoon.
This movie's available on Amazon. It's available on Netflix. The Amazon version is to buy, obviously. I would definitely recommend, if you wanted to buy it, you can probably get it on, I think it's on cheaper on TCM Shop, which is Turner Classic Movie Shop. But I'm not entirely sure. Sometimes it's cheaper, sometimes it's not. Like, I know, like, Alicia Malone's new book. You know her from Movie Fights. Anytime they do classic movie fights, she's there. The British girl.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. I like her. Yeah, she has a new book out called, I just ordered it too, Backwards and in High Heels.
Yeah, I think she's definitely, she's one of my favorite people, Movie Fights. I think it's
funny, good that they don't let her play.
She doesn't rely on her humor.
I think it's good that they don't let her play anymore, really, because she just wrecks everyone every time she goes on. It's like Leonard
she really does. I also, Kevin Smith, you can see how Donald Trump won if you watch Kevin Smith on Movie Fights.
Why?
I know that sounds like a stretch at first.
I haven't listened to the episode yet, where the Comic-Con one. I've heard Kevin Smith suck his own dick about how good he was at it for like 3 podcasts.
Oh yeah, on Smodcast. When he gives us some summary of how he won. He did win, he won. But it's the reason he won and how Trump wins. If this is a life lesson for everyone, if you're ever in a debate with anyone, it just makes people laugh at their side, and then you'll win.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
That's how Ronald Reagan won. That's how he beat Jimmy Carter. That's how Trump won. Just making up funny names. Little Marco. Ted Cruz is a Zodiac killer.
Well, now it's little George Stephanopoulos. Doesn't quite roll off the tongue like little Marco.
But it's that's exactly what Kevin Smith did. He would just he didn't really have any counter arguments. He would just make a joke, and it was a fan voting for it too. So I was like, oh, he's gonna win.
To be fair, his decision to use the Nazi movie was a stroke of genius.
That was smart. The best. Have you listened? If you definitely still listen to the episode, because Elijah Wood is just I'm out, but then Dan Murrell was
no,
to fight this. He tried to defend. He basically is but without the Nazis,
we wouldn't have. Well, I mean, if you think about it, without the Nazis, we wouldn't have Indiana Jones. We wouldn't have Star Wars.
I think he actually says that. He's like, we wouldn't have Indiana Jones.
He's like, Nazis were good. But yeah, I think. But I bought her book recently. I haven't gotten it yet. I ordered it on Amazon. I think it's coming tomorrow. In 2 days, it's coming. But yeah, how would you rate? What would you rate the African Queen? Now talk about the ship, not the movie.
Oh, the ship. I don't know. It's probably like, I'd say the ship itself was like maybe a 5 or 6 out of 10 ship.
It's a shitty boat.
It's always on the verge of exploding because it's a steam-powered ship, so they literally just like have a fire on it like all the time.
Yeah, it's not well built either. It's like wood. Like.
Yep.
But yeah, okay. So how would you rate the movie?
I'd say 8 out of 10 because almost all of it holds up. Like the African stuff, some of it is like because they're like all tribal Africans too, so it's like that part is like yeah, it's a little bit, but I think it's because they're only in it for the very beginning. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So I think that's what helps them.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem I have with the movie is, like, the movie opens with a bunch of, and this is something that I'm going to tell you if you're gonna watch the movie, just like either skip it or just like ignore
that scene.
It.
Yeah, that went on way too long.
With them just all like screaming in like in unison, trying to sing along.
That went on for like.
It went on like 7 minutes too long. But like everything in the beginning of the movie is like really boring, and then once they get onto the boat, then it's like, oh, okay, now it's an actual movie.
I agree with that 100%. I think I might be giving it an 8 because I'm boosting it up because of how old it is, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna change my answer before you say anything. I think a 6.5.
Oh, I was looking. I'm gonna stick with an 8.
Now I'm gonna raise it up to a 7. Oh, did you know that Louis C.K. Makes female comedians watch him jack off?
Yes, I did.
Isn't that exciting?
I don't know if exciting. Maybe for him it's exciting, but like, who was the one who blew the whistle on that? Wasn't it like, what's her name?
It was sort of. It was sort of Tig Notaro.
Oh.
Tig Notaro kind of added legitimacy to it because she's like very big. There's one comedian that she's on podcasts a lot, so that's why I knew her. Like, she's the one that brought it up, but she didn't say it was Louis C.K. She just said, like, this
who
famous.
Was it? I forgot who it was.
She said this famous comedian.
No, I mean it was the person other than Tig Notaro who said it. I could have swore it was Ricky Lindholm from Garfunkel and Oates who said that was Louis C.K.
It's also Roseanne.
Roseanne makes people watch her masturbate before shows?
No, she said that she's heard, like, stories.
Let me turn save search on, or not save search. Let's put it into incognito. Louis C.K.
I just typed in Louis C.K. weird, and then it's all about that.
Watch him masturbate.
Because he's the executive producer on
Roseanne Barr, Tig Notaro.
Well, Tig Notaro didn't say he did it. She just said he needs to address it because any time that people are like, "Hey, this is coming up about you," Louis C.K. is just like, "I don't want to talk about that."
To be fair, Louis C.K. also has I have other issues with Louis C.K., like the fact that he's a pedophile apologist.
I did not know about that one.
Like, that's another issue people don't really address with Louis C.K. is like the fact that that's a thing that we just kind of live with and watch his comedy specials while knowing.
Wait, what was that about?
I think in his comedy he's made jokes about pedophiles, but like not like pedophile jokes, more like, you know, like he's allowing pedophilia, but like it's I forgot what it was. I remember hearing that though. That he was a pedophilia apologist.
It was Jen Kirkman was the comedian.
Jemima Kirkman or Jen?
Jen Kirkman. She's on a lot of podcasts I listen to. She's pretty funny.
Oh, okay. Did you ever see the clip for the roast of Captain America?
Nope.
It was at the end of not movie fights. Honest Trailers. They had like an ad for it, for the roast of Captain America. The roast they good thing they stopped doing them because they were really cringy.
Yeah, I just saw the trailers for them and I was like, I don't want to watch these.
But like the girl who plays Black Widow in that, you know what she's famous for besides that?
Nope.
She's the reporter for the Daily News that Brett Favre sent a picture of his cock to.
Oh, good. That's exciting.
But yeah, like the whole thing with Bucky in that was so cringy. Oh my god, like, the entire thing is just him talking about getting butt fucked by Captain America for a good like 10 minutes of stand up.
Ew.
Like at one point he goes like, the only joke I remember from it is him going, my asshole is so full of super soldier DNA that I think I'm technically a flight risk.
It's kind of funny.
Like, but that was the highlight. Oh, and what's her name? And the Black Widow's, now go talk to Stan Lee. He knows how to fuck somebody. Just ask Jack Kirby. Like that one was funny too. Not like that.
Did Stan Lee's wife just die?
Yes.
He didn't really like acknowledge that.
Well, he's also like 95, and he absorbed her life force so he could live longer.
Yeah, I feel like he was just like, she died because she was weak. I will live forever. Because he was like at an event, I feel like next week, and was just like, what the?
Like Stan Lee claims another victim in his search for eternal life.
Yeah, that's actually, I've been reading the Zodiac Killer book more about it. Doing a deep dive. Oh wait, actually, speaking of that, I'd like to say something about American Horror Story that I'm kind of mad about, but also a little bit impressed about.
What?
On the hotel season, one of the episodes, so the hotel was built by a serial killer. That's just made up, and he's like the most successful serial killer ever because he was super rich and he built a hotel to just basically kill people in. So there's all these secret rooms and hallways and like chutes to dump bodies and all this stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, but he's dead because it was from like the 20s. So there's a Devil's Night every year where he invites all other dead, like the most famous dead serial killers, to like have a dinner with him, basically, and then they can kill anyone in the hotel that they want to, even though they're ghosts. So then it was him. Then it was the woman from Monster, the movie with Charlize Theron. She was the prostitute serial killer that killed like Johns.
Oh, okay.
It was John Wayne Gacy, who was the clown, even though it's a very big misnomer or a fake story that he killed people as a clown. He had multiple personality disorder, and one of his personalities was a clown, and the other one was this like
a serial killer.
No, it was like a cowboy almost that like hated gay people, but he was gay, and then he would like kill them, kind of like that. One was John. What's the fuck is his name? He ate people. Jeffrey Dahmer. There we go.
Oh, okay.
And then one was a Night Stalker, Richie Ramiro, I think his name is, and the last one, the Zodiac Killer. And I'm right in the middle of reading the Zodiac book. So I was like, oh, well, let's see. It's like, how well they do. So most of it was good, but the thing I'm most pissed off about. So one of the people, because American, no, I would have loved that. One of the people that the actors in American Horror Story that they bring back a lot, played the main suspect in the Zodiac case to this day is Arthur Lee Allen, who's dead now, but like it's pretty close that he did it. And in the movie Zodiac, the David Fincher film, this guy that's in American Horror Story sometimes played him, and he's on, and then he came back for this episode, but he didn't play the Zodiac killer.
Why?
I don't know. So I was kind of mad about that, but I was impressed because he pulled out a gun and had a flashlight mounted to it, and that's something the Zodiac killer did do. Is he because he would hunt people in the dark, and he put a little flashlight as a scope, like a targeting thing, on his gun. So that was a nice attention to detail.
So yeah. Anything else we want to address? Want me to do to wrap up this episode? The things we liked this week. We haven't done that in a while. Or cool things we bought recently.
I bought a 14-piece Martha Stewart cookery set from Macy's this week. It was originally over $300, but it was on sale. It was on sale for $180, and then it was an additional 20-something% off because of Labor Day. And it's all pots and pans and it's very nice. It's all stainless steel with ceramic inside, so I'm excited for it.
I've done a little bit of a spending spree recently. I picked up Madden 17, the GOAT edition. I'm not going to talk about it again. I already talked about it on the episode I did last week where I addressed that. I also picked up Wipeout, the Omega Collection. I haven't started that yet. Which is Wipeout, Wipeout Fury, and Wipeout 2048, I think it is, or something like that. The Lion King just came out on Blu-ray, so I have that, and I came with these little film reels from the movie. First thing my brother said when I opened it was like, those aren't real, right? They're replicas. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Thanks, buddy. Picked up Escape from New York in a steelbook, and Watchmen in a steelbook. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 on 4K DVD, which I advise everyone do so we can get all the rest of the Marvel movies in a 4K edition. You think I'm kidding? I'm serious. You think if enough people don't buy that, they'll be like, oh shit, let's release all of them again. It's the same thing as the Disney, that should be the next edition of Disney movie, by the way. The next edition of Disney movie is going to end up being the 4K edition. Because this year they're re-releasing 2 classic holiday movies in 4K.
What?
A Charlie Brown Christmas, and It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown.
Those are the movies that need to be watched in 4K.
Are both being digitally remastered into 4K. So that way we can truly get the director's vision for these movies. I don't know how much better you can make a 4K animated movie, I'm going to be completely honest. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I do recommend getting in the 4K because it's beautiful. The movie it's a beautiful movie. And what was the other one? If you are looking for movies, I definitely also recommend you go to your local thrift store, and you can get some really cool stuff there. I don't know if I talked about it, if we did an episode since I picked it up, but I got Mallrats on VHS. I did talk about it, because if you look at it, it's just about the scene where Kevin Smith shoves his head through the wall while, what's her name, getting dressed? Joy Lauren Adams. And then I also got White Heat and The Roaring Twenties. Both classic James Cagney movies. Gone for $2 each at my local thrift store. On DVD. What I've been looking for is Star Wars, the original trilogy, on VHS, but the release prior to 97. Because I want to rip it onto my computer and watch the unedited original trilogy. So that the search hasn't been going well though. So yeah. But I definitely do recommend. They have a ton of movies at the thrift stores by my house because people die and then their movie collection goes to the thrift store and stuff like that. So you can get dead people stuff. I got all my Matrix movies from a thrift store. I got Silence of the Lambs unopened for $1.50. The special edition. And just think, all people have to do for you to get these movies is die. That's all I have for this week. Any final thoughts before we announce our next movie we're doing? Which will not be a month between episodes like last time. Actually, it was like a month and a half between episodes, in our defense. So our next movie is... We're going to be doing The Snake Pit, continuing our trek into older movies. This is a movie that shows how awesome the Freudian method of psychology is. And then we'll be going to Lord Jim is the movie after that. And then after that, we'll figure it out from there. Maybe we'll do Any Given Sunday at some point. I just bought that on DVD too for $1.50 or something like that at Target. We now have a Facebook page, Search 30-minute reviews. You'll recognize the logo. We also have Twitter at 30min review. We don't have a Tumblr yet. I'm going to make a Tumblr. We might be able to get more people to listen if we make a Tumblr. If you're listening on an iPod, or if you still have an iPod, you're using that. If you have an iPhone, like most people, or if you have an iPad, if you're listening to it on iTunes, subscribe and rate. I sound like a YouTuber now. But maybe that's why we're not getting listeners, is because we're not telling people to, tell people to listen.
Make sure you listen.
It only took us... By the way, we completely missed our second anniversary.
Cool.
Because that was back in August. We did not do an episode for that. And this is not an endorsement. This is just something I like doing now. So, if you will go to Barnes & Noble and buy these crystal puzzles, they are really awesome. I bought I bought a rubber duck one. I have a Mickey Mouse one that I did. I have a sapphire crystal coming in the mail with the Alicia Malone book. So yeah, if we can get more listeners, we can do more regular episodes, because then we get paid. So, and that's the other thing I forgot to address earlier in the episode. If you hear an ad in Spanish for Wells Fargo, we have no control over the ads that are being played. They're just kind of playing on their own. It's part of our deal with Spreaker, who's the host.
If you don't like it, it means you're fucking racist.
That's not what I was going to say. Now, when you listened to the episode that I did by myself, did it play before the episode, after the episode?
It was at the very beginning of the episode.
And did it play anything at the end, or did it just do a pre-roll?
I didn't listen to the end.
Okay.
I couldn't stand it.
Yeah, well, that's why I did the standalone episode about Yu-Gi-Oh cards, because I knew that would be like torture for anyone else who's not interested in that. But for anyone out there who is interested in that kind of thing, if there is enough interest, you can let us know by Twitter, Facebook, whatever. I'll make that into a regular show in a standalone. I'll spin that one off. But like I said, if you want to recommend this to any of your friends to listen to, that'd be great, so we can, expand our listener base, see if we can get more people in listening. Because we like doing this, but we like having people hear it, too. Like, it makes it a little bit better if there's someone out there listening other than our 9 loyal fans. Does that make you feel good? We have 9 people out there who love listening to us every month or so we do the episodes.
Thank you to those people.
Also, if you are into sports, we have rebranded Unofficial Commentary by the Unqualified yet again. This time it's going to be a football podcast. Just about football. And we'll be doing our pre-season episode for the 2017-2018 season. Right after this, actually. So we'll be putting this one up, and then we'll be doing that. So good night.
Good luck.
And we'll be... Okay, and good night and good luck. That's how we should sign off every night. No one's ever done that before.